Hey there, YouTube. Well-rounded prepper here. This video is going to be discussing bugging in versus bugging out. And I just want to preface this by saying that this video is probably geared more towards people who are new to preparedness, and also is maybe geared more toward getting you to think beyond the most immediate threats, but to long-term threats. So bugging in, bugging out is just your choice of how you're going to handle whatever scenario. And whatever scenario you're preparing for is completely dependent upon the things that you see as threats to your way of life, and also dependent upon your area. Perhaps, if you live in the city, do you really want to stay in the city if something major happens? It's a good question, especially if there's anyone who's living in the city or in the downtown areas over the summer, a couple summers ago when there was all the rioting and the vandalism. How do you feel about staying in the city? So bugging in basically means staying where you are, staying in your home, hunkering down, trying to wait it out, or staying there. You have no plans of leaving your home unless there's some kind of, I don't know, like immediate threat, such as like a train derailment with toxic chemicals, or the house catches on fire or whatever. You don't have any plans for leaving the home in the event of an emergency unless you absolutely have to. Bugging out is not staying at home when something goes down or when things go south. It's you have a place prepared for yourself and your family that you're going to travel to, that has your preps, it has your food storage, it has everything that you need. And I'd be careful about that. I mean, depending on how far away it is from your home and what exactly the scenario is, traveling can be dangerous. So you have to kind of weigh these things out for yourself and decide what you and your family want to do and what's best. Maybe you have family who has a bunch of land, and right now you guys discuss going there in the event of an emergency. Well, then you may want to add food storage out there to what they have so that there's plenty of food for you guys when you get there, unless you plan on loading up the car to go. And again, it kind of depends on what the situation is. I know that for a long time I considered bugging out, and I do have a grab bag. I've got grab bags packed for my husband and I and for our pets, just in case we had to leave, but our primary objective is just to hunker down and stay where we are. And that's just kind of a conclusion that we've come to over the years. What I would encourage you to do beyond figuring out what your ultimate goal is, whether it's to hunker down and stay in place or to leave, if you're planning on hunkering down, you need to consider things like fortifying your home. How can you make it more secure so that you can stay there longer, more secure? Where are you going to store your items? Do you have an attached garage that you could store items either in or near, so that if you guys had to leave, you could just grab stuff really quickly and move it into the car before you leave the house? Things like that. If you're going to bug out, you need to plan out your route, and you need to have a route there by car, by bike, or by foot, because it depends on what's going on, folks. Anything's possible these days. And then the other thing that I would encourage you to do, and I would do so carefully, because you don't want to necessarily announce to the world that you're a prepper, because that will make you more of a target. But if you're planning, if you think of a major scenario or whatever it is, and you imagine family that you have being with you, or you being with family, then I would encourage you not only to include them in your prepping, so buy for them as well if you can, but I would encourage you to consider talking to them about these plans. We have family that lives about 45 minutes away from us. We're more in the country area, they're more in the city. So obviously we would like for them to come be with us, depending on what the scenario is. they have chosen to hunker down and stay in place. But I still prepare for them just in case they end up coming out here anyway. So we've talked with them about it, and that's just, they've made their decision, and we've made ours. So I would encourage you to start putting out feelers. Just say something small. It doesn't have to be sit down talk like, hey, we're preparing and we want you to come stay with us. It's more test the waters, see how they feel about things. Do they poke fun? Do they mock? If they do, I would prepare for them and just not tell them. Because loose lips sink ships, right? So you don't want someone who thinks that it's silly or foolish to know, because then they're going to tell all their friends on social media or all their friends or whatever, oh, I've got preppers in the family and they're preparing for us. And then people know that there's someone they can go to. Now, I'm going to say this cautiously. You don't want to make yourself a target, but you do want to be able to help people. And I'm trying to help people by encouraging them now to prepare. I typed up a big old letter on preparedness and I gave it to my neighbors. I sent it, or well, I took it by foot to their homes. I walked around, I stuck it in mailboxes. I still have a few more neighbors I need to hit. But I want people to take responsibility for themselves and for their family, and to not be dependent on other people. So that's kind of how I'm trying to help people now. Our food storage is primarily a working pantry and an extended pantry. And from that, if it's getting close to the use by date and I don't think we're going to use something, I donate it to the local food pantry so that somebody can eat it. Everyone kind of has a different opinion on using things past the use by date. And there's some things I do and there's some things I don't. So for the things that I don't, I send those to a food storage so people can benefit from it. So, and obviously if there were people, like if the scenario was just, I can't even imagine, apocalyptic, and there's people that are starving to death outside, I wouldn't feel right not trying to help them somehow. And that's something that you have to think about too, depending on like the absolute worst case scenario. But most of my videos are going to be geared toward just preparing for the most immediate threats, which is at this point, aside from the potential threat of nuclear war with somebody, because there's wars all over the place, or with rumors of wars, my primary focus is preparing against inflation and food shortages. And I think that that's largely the most immediate threat that most of us face. So with that in mind, just a topic to think about today is, are you going to plan for bugging in, plan for bugging out? If you're going to bug out, how are you going to get there? Where is it? Store stuff there. If you're bugging in, how can you secure things? And then who are you including in your preps, and figure out ways to see where they are with things and if they want to get involved. If they're in the right place, you can definitely have those discussions with them and see if they want to go in with you on food items, if they want to store things at a mutual location, or what the plan is. And at least talk about it so people know. Even if they ended up deciding not to join you, at least they know there's the option. And you can say, if you do decide to come, just bring whatever you can with you so that it can help out. But start thinking about those things and have those conversations. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share below, and say hi to my cat Tank. And I will talk with you all later. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day. God bless.